Hey there. So there I was playing Tune-Up and I was using voicings from this book, 3-Note Voicings and Beyond by Randy Vincent. This is a very good book that I got a couple of weeks back. I've been trying to get a hold of it for a while and finally got a copy. And it's been blowing me away completely for these last couple of weeks. So what it is about is voicings. The main portion of the book deals with like guide tones and adding a note to guide tones and creating 3-note voicings, hence the title. But there's a lot more too. But I'm going to take a look at that now, how we can use this concept of guide tones with one added note. And we're going to do that over Tune-Up. And yeah, let's get right into it. So before we do that, we need to make sure that we know where the guide tones are on the guitar. So we're going to use the middle set of strings to play the guide tones. The guide tones are the 3rd and the 7th of the chords. So E minor, A7, D, major 7. Then I'm gonna let the C sharp drop to a B. Why, you ask? Because it sounds good. D minor, G7, C major 7. Then we have E minor, F7, B flat major 7, E flat 7. I've seen different real books say different things, but I prefer E flat 7 there. Some people are saying, well, come on, we know this stuff. You always talk about the guide tones. This is pretty basic stuff. Yeah, but what this book will show you is how far you can take this idea. So just bear with me. So you could, of course, add the bass notes or the roots. If I'm playing with a vocalist, for example, that's what I would do. But here we're trying to pretend that we're playing with a combo, right? Like a piano and a bass player, even though I have removed the piano from the mix. So then we don't have to play the bass note. Just some people get confused because they think that you can't play the bass note. No. You don't have to play the bass note or the root. That's not the same thing as that you can't. So some people think that it gets in the way of the bass player, what the bass player is doing. But if I'm playing an E minor up here, the bass player is playing an E, an octave below that. That's 2 octaves below this. So no, it's not gonna clash. But if you're playing with a combo and you're playing the root or the bass note every time, yeah, that's not a good idea. You want to leave some space and some room for the bass player. But again, that doesn't mean that you can't play the bass note. If you watch Kurt Rosenwinkel and those guys, they play the bass note, the root, I mean, quite often actually. Let's just have a listen to what it sounds like. So I have my iReal Pro and I have to change some of the chords. I changed the swing to a Latin feel because I prefer that. Reasonable tempo and remove the piano from the mix. And then just listen to what those guide tones sound like. Or with bass. Another thing you can do is when the root is on on the 5th string, you can play whatever note is on the 6th string instead as a bass note. Django style guitar players do that all the time, and especially bossa nova and Brazilian guitar, you do that all the time. Another little tip is to use these middle fingers, because then you can get these fingers to do little embellishments in melodies. So I have talked about that quite a lot in previous videos, and I'll link to those. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a note to this to these guide tones on the 2nd string. Whatever note we can find available should be a note from the scale. Could be an extension, could be the root, could be the 5th. You want to be aware of the avoid notes, and it shouldn't be one of the guide tones, so no doubling. So here, for example, I could add the 5th. Let that note, play that note over the A7 as well, which creates a 9th. And then for the D major, I play the 5th, and then I drop the 7th to the 6th. I get this. And for the F, I can add the 13th, the 9th to the B flat major 7, and the 13th for the A flat, E flat. I get some nice contrary motion there when I go back to the E minor. Of course, you could play the root bass notes. But I'm not going to do that. We're going to take a listen to what it sounds like over the backing track. Obviously, I'm adding rhythm to this. I'm not gonna talk about rhythm in this video because the video will get too long. But if you're new to this, maybe just play downbeats. But eventually, you want to add some rhythm to everything. So I'm not gonna talk about the A7 there. You could obviously use altered scale or alterations, and the book talks about that quite a lot. But the video will be too long, so I'm just gonna skip that. But what he does, he creates little melodies using the altered notes on the dominant chords, which is really nice. So now, what's next level? Well, before we do that, we need to realize that there is also another place on the fretboard where we can play these guide tones. If we can play the guide tones here on the middle set of strings, that means that there is an inversion of that, which is down there. So this is a 4th, and the inversion of a 4th is a 5th. Right? So same notes but flipped. So I'm playing the same thing, but just in a flipped manner. And of course, you could add the bass notes here too. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add a note on the B string. Same as before, but this time available note would be the F sharp, which creates a nice E minor 9. Keep that note for the A7. We get an A13, and then D major 9. What he does, he resolves it like that. Shall we? Alright, something I should mention too is that you can play the guide tones and the melody if you want. But that's a different topic, and which it's something that I've covered in many videos before. So I'll link to those videos. Okay, so I think that most people that watch my videos, this is not news for you. You know this stuff. So let's see what else we can do. But before we do that, we need to also make sure that we can do these exact same things on different set of strings. So the one I did now, for example, you should be able to do it here. It sounds different too because of the quality of the strings. This to me sounds like Ed Bickert kind of stuff. Because again, you can add really embellishments and little melodies. Right? It sounds like something that Ed Bickert would do. Could even do it on these strings if you really want to stretch things, the 3 bottom strings, but you have to be up here because it gets way too muddy down there. Then you can get those crazy extensions and stuff up there, which sounds like another Canadian guitar player, Lorne Lofsky. So if you haven't checked out Lorne Lofsky, you should totally do that. So but you could also play them on a higher set of strings. So here. So I'm not gonna play all that because the video will take forever. So that means that you should also do the first example we did on different set of strings. Again, you have to be a little bit careful with the register, so it might be a little bit too dark down there. It just kind of gets in the way of everything. But here, sorry, what is it? And the top set of strings. So I'm moving kind of fast here because I want you to figure this stuff out for yourself, and you should get the book. So you notice that already we have quite a few options from this very simple concept, right? Just the 2 guide tones and adding 1 note on a adjacent string, and then make sure that you know all the different positions and everything and set of strings. You can create quite a lot of variation, and I haven't even talked about the altered notes, right? Haven't even also talked about how you can kind of play these voicings. Should you pick them or strum them? You could break them up. Make little melodies within the comping. So lots of stuff to think about. Now, the next thing you can do is instead of playing the guide tones on 2 adjacent strings, you want to play them on non-adjacent strings. So the first one we can do, instead of playing that G on the 3rd string, play the G on the 2nd string. So it's the exact same thing, right? Only on different strings. That gives us the opportunity to play the extension or the new note in the middle voice between those guide tones. So we can put the F sharp there. Get this kind of cluster sounding really nice voicings. Let's listen to that. I really like that. And again, that means that there's another inversion of those guide tones. Well, here. So G, D, G, C sharp. Put the B in the middle. Keep it there. Running out of register, so right, gives you also a completely different character. And again, try these new voicings on different set of strings. So oh my god. Not so user-friendly there. What about the top strings? Cool. And the other variation. Top strings. Okay, so now you think, what else can you do? Well, you can put the extension below, or the new note. Could be an extension, could be another note, right? Below the guide tones. So let's move these first guide tones we played here to the third and the second string. Now I can put that new note below. Let's listen to that. I really like that. Again, different set of strings. And last example I'm going to show you is to put the guide tones here. The G and the D. Then you put the F sharp. Get a really nice cluster sound, right? This is super nice. You can do that. Let's listen to that because I really like that. So as you can see, there's a lot of stuff. That was just the first chapter in this book where he talks about these 3-note voicings. And then he talks about open triads, and then he talks about like walking bass. That was a 2-5-1. So the idea is to be able to play walking bass with chords, right? Using passing chords and what have you. So there's quite a lot of that, quite a lot actually. And then, oh wow, there's tons of that stuff. And voice leading, and he talks about, there's just so much. Major tritone pairing, hexatonic triad pairs, different. A fresh look at diminished chords. Okay, I haven't even looked at this yet. Quartal harmony is secundal harmony. Is that how you say that? Oh man, there's so much here. George Shearing style comping, block chords, simulated Shearing reductions, split tritone voicings in B flat. I don't even know what this is. Melodies revisited, harmonizing melodies with chromatic parallel voicings. So he talks about Softly in the Morning Sunrise, Beatrice, Beautiful Love, Polka Dots and Moonbeams with like counterpoint things here. There is a lot of stuff here. So I'm probably gonna talk about this book some more in the future. This is, I keep saying that this is the best book ever, but that's because the books that I cover are books that I really, really like. It's not that I like every book, because there's a lot of books that I don't like, but I don't talk about those books in my videos. I only talk about the books that I really like. Somebody said, like, you know, when you go into a library, you can't read all the books in the library. So how do you know which ones you read? Well, you just read the good ones. How do you know? So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm telling you which books I like. So that doesn't mean that it's the same for you, but at least this is, in my opinion, a very, very good book that for any jazz guitar player is kind of, this stuff is, how should I put it? Essential, right? So that was my little video on that. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for your time and attention, and I shall see you next time.